So, Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Rodrigo Bentancur has been given a 7-match ban by the Football Association in England over a racial slur that he used during, I believe it was a TV interview that he did this on. And this is something that's been bubbling away for some time. It happened quite a while ago, I believe, when he said this. Unfortunately, he apologised for it. He apologised to Son for it, but now he's been given a 7-match ban. So I'm just going to go into what was actually said by him, the reasoning for why he thinks he didn't do any wrong, I believe, and also for the reasoning for why the FA has given him this punishment, and whether I think it's the right decision by the English FA to do this. So shout out to the BBC Sport for covering this full article by Mandeep Sangera here. So, Tottenham midfielder Rodrigo Bentancur has been given a 7-match domestic ban by the Football Association for using a racial slur about teammate Son Heung-min. Bentancur, who was also fined £100,000 in order to take part in a mandatory face-to-face education program, was charged by the FA in September after comments made while appearing on TV in his home country of Uruguay in June. Rodrigo Bentancur denied this charge, but the Independent Regulatory Commission found it to be a proven and imposed this sanction following a hearing, the FA statement said. The 27-year-old will not return to domestic action until the 26th of December, missing Premier League matches against Manchester City, Liverpool and Chelsea, among others, plus Spurs League Cup quarter-final against Manchester United. Of course, this is a ban for all domestic competitions, so I believe he will still be able to take part in the Europa League, as that is a UEFA competition, as it just says literally in the next line there. Bentancur has played 15 times for Tottenham this season and scored his first goal of the campaign in defeat to Ipswich on the 11th of November. The incident happened in his own time, and so as he plays in England, fell under the jurisdiction of the FA, unlike the situation involving Chelsea midfielder Enzo Fernandez, where at that time he was, of course, on duty for Argentina. In fact, he was celebrating for Argentina after winning the Copa America. Already done a video about that at the time. That was a big scandal in itself, for sure. Fernandez was on international duty when he posted the video, which the French Football Federation said included an alleged racist and discriminatory chant. It did include it wasn't alleged, it was definitely that, of Argentina celebrating winning the Copa America, and is being investigated by world governing body FIFA. It's still being investigated. That was like 3-4 months ago. Wow, it's taken a while. FIFA taking its time. What did Bentancur say? This is pretty bad, by the way. This is the thing for me where I'm just like, you know what? You can't say this. You really can't, and you should know better. Simple as that. But I'll read out what he said. When charging the Uruguay international, the FA said it was an alleged breach of FA Rule E3 for misconduct in relation to a media interview. The FA said that they consulted an aggravated breach, as it is included a reference to whether it expresses or implied to nationality and or race and or ethnic origin. In the media interview in question, when asked by a presenter for a Tottenham shirt, Bentancur replied, "Sonny's? It could be Sonny's cousin too. They all look the same." Which is racist. Yeah. He later apologised on social media and said that his comments were a very bad joke. Yeah, a racist joke. Bentancur also said sorry to South Korea forward Son, who he said not mean to ever intentionally say something offensive. Well, you did, mate, didn't you? So, what was Bentancur's defence and what did the panel say? Bentancur's offence carried a punishment of 6 to 12 match ban, and in its written reasons, the FA said that the player asked for the matter to be dealt with on the basis of written submissions only. A response to the charge sent to Tottenham on behalf of Bentancur said Rodrigo's reply was sarcastic and a gentle rebuke of the journalist calling for Sonny the Korean. Two wrongs do not make a right, and calling Heung-min Son the Korean, being the only Korean player for Tottenham, although there is one joining in January. They got a winger coming from I can't remember the name of the side now. It might literally be FC Seoul. Could be wrong on that one, but two wrongs don't make a right on these kind of things. And calling him the Korean isn't amazing, but he is the Korean player for Tottenham, so maybe lost in translation a bit. That's not so bad. But saying that they all look the same, that is a racist joke that has been going on for probably centuries at this point, and isn't even true. Koreans do look different because, they're people, so I don't know why this is still a joke, to be honest, but here we go. Rodrigo does not believe that all Koreans look more or less the same. The context of the exchange clearly shows Rodrigo is being sarcastic. Rodrigo was challenging the journalist in his description of his then club teammate. It was also submitted that Bentancur's apologies for his comments was not what he said, but for the inadequate reporting on the interview, which excluded the presenter's references to Son as the Korean, but he's still saying something racist, even if he did say that before. If they both said something racist, then they both should be punished. It's kind of how it works. It doesn't really have anything to do with that guy, that journalist or whatever. You know, if he did say something bad, then he should get punished by whatever organisation he was working for. And with Bentancur, obviously, it comes under the jurisdiction of the FA because he's a Tottenham player who played in England. They found that the apologies made by him appear to show that he accepted he had caused offence, and a statement from Spurs in response to his apologies appears to have accepted that the player's remarks had been objectively insulting and are abusive and discriminatory. The panel said that they could not accept the submission of Bentancur as it flies in the face of evidence and does not sit within the context or form of the player's apologies or the response from Tottenham Hotspur or Son Heung-min. In determining the sanction, the Independent Regulatory Commission took into account Bentancur had no previous offences, did not mean to cause offence, and, despite the submission made on his behalf before us which tended to undermine the force of that early apology, we consider his remorse was and is genuine. It added, in all the circumstances, we consider that, in terms of culpability and consequences, this breach falls towards the lower end of the guideline range, but not the lowest point. Anti-discrimination charity Kick It Out said they welcomed the decision to hold Bentancur accountable for using a racial slur. They said, and I quote, "A significant number of reports were made to Kick It Out regarding the incidents at the time, highlighting how abuse directed at players from East and Southeastern Asian backgrounds not only impacts the individual involved but also affects fans in the wider community. It's important we all recognise and report this type of discrimination when it appears." So, I mean, I hope that explains it all, guys. I mean, that's pretty much all laid out there. I feel like that's an appropriate punishment given their own guidelines. I mean, instead of it being a 6-match ban, which is the minimum, they've gone with a 7. It's slightly above, but it's not towards the higher end. I feel like that's a fair punishment. You know, the fine is a lot of money. You know, £100,000 is a lot of money. I don't know what Bentancur's on, probably less than that a week. And I know people will be like, "Oh, that's less than a week's wages. That's not much." You'd miss a week's wages. If you missed a week's wages, that's a quarter of your monthly income. You'd miss it. And I'm not even going to give a sob story with this. I'm not saying that, "Oh, he's hard done by that." I think it's fair. I think a punishment in both a sporting and financial sense is good. You know, it shows him that it's kind of hitting from both sides with that as well. And I think as well, him having to do that educational course is a good thing as well, because, you know, there aren't many people of colour at all from Uruguay, I don't believe. You get a few, but in the national team anyway, it's not quite like Argentina where it's like 100% white, but there's definitely not many people from East Asian backgrounds in Uruguay. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I don't think there are. I think the only part of South America that has a significant East Asian community is Brazil. It has the biggest population of Japanese people, ethnic Japanese people outside of Japan. That's a fact for you there if you didn't know that. But yeah, I don't think that Uruguay has that. So again, it could just be a bit of ignorance on his side, really. You know, that might well be a joke that he heard a lot growing up because there's nobody in Uruguay to kind of say, or not many people in Uruguay to say, "Hey, that's racist," you know? I got South Korean friends, I got East Asian friends, why are you saying that? So I think the educational thing is a good thing, and, you know, I'm sure he'll learn his lesson from this, and it does seem like he's remorseful over it, which I'm sure even cynics would say, well, of course he would be, but I think he is. I think he probably thinks he's an absolute idiot for saying what he did, because yeah, he basically is. And I think this punishment is fair. But yeah, that's the whole thing explained. Basically, Bentancur was a very naughty boy. He said something racist on TV, and now he's been punished for it. And that's kind of the end of it, really. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. Hopefully he's learned his lesson. So yeah, for much more content on the world of football, do keep it tuned here to thefootballchronicle.com, guys. Hopefully a little less like this, and hopefully a little bit more about, you know, the game we actually love rather than the controversies off the field. But it seems like there's plenty of those right now. Ajax and Hapoel Tel Aviv, or Maccabi Tel Aviv, whichever the Tel Aviv sides it was. Obviously David Coote as well. And then not that long ago, of course, the Fernandez incident as well. There's been plenty of off-field dramas this season, and we're not even to Christmas time yet. So I don't think this is the end we've heard of this. There's going to be some other things happening, probably with Coote, but I hope that's the end of it with him. Check out our video about that if you've not already, of course. But yeah, we'll see you soon, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe as always, and ring the bell, and we'll see you very soon. Have a good one.